Coming this summer from Walt Disney Pictures.
Up there, high in the dark bell tower, lives the mysterious bell ringer.
Good morning. If I picked a day to fly, oh, this would be it.
Oh, man! I thought he'd never leave. I'll be spitting feathers for a week.
Well, that's what you get for sleeping with your mouth open.
He lived a solitary life behind stone walls.
Remember, Quasimodo.
Yes, Master.
This is your sanctuary.
Here it is, the moment you've been waiting for.
Outside was a world he had only dreamed of.
Look at that disgusting display.
Yes, sir.
Until he met Esmeralda.
Well, you're not hurt, are you?
No.
By the way, great mask.
The woman who would open his eyes to adventures he never imagined.
Look, he's got a friend with him.
Leave this place.
You don't know what it's like out there.
Nobody wants to stay cooped up here forever.
Come with me.
You're right. I'll go.
Way to go, lover boy!
A guy so swell. A guy like you.
This summer, share the feeling.
Wine, women, and stuff.
Join the fun.
For the wine and cut the cheese.
Sit.
Whoa! Back here, gypsy!
And live the adventure.
What a woman.
Arrest her. How dare you defy me?
Hang on! I think the cavalry's here.
Walt Disney Pictures presents an all-new animated motion picture event. The story of one extraordinary human being
She's very lucky to have a friend like you.
discovering the magic within himself. The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Coming to theaters June 21st.
Continuing on with our Disney Renaissance Marathon, we come to The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Directed by Kirk Wise and Gary Trousdale, who also directed Beauty and the Beast. This was their next attempt at making a film. This one did okay at the time. It was around, I believe, 325 million worldwide, but it was based on a $100 million budget. So the budget went through the roof. But yeah, but it's still an enjoyable film, I think. However, I want to say that there was some controversy. I just looked up the history about this film. There was a little bit of controversy about this movie. Because Disney for a long time had a reputation among religious groups. There was always something that religious groups would find offensive that they were doing with the company, and I can see that. I myself, being a Christian denomination, belong to a I belong to a non-denominational church, but I am Christian of the faith. This film was kind of made to help ease, I guess. I think that's what Disney was trying to do, was help ease the tension among religious believers. Even though, if you know anything about the original story about The Hunchback of Notre Dame, it's actually a criticism on the Catholic Church. However, Disney, in their adaptation, they never do a faithful adaptation of a book. Even with something like Pocahontas, which I didn't mention, is that Pocahontas did receive some criticism about it not being true to the original story, what actually happened, and how Disney kind of made up a story. Well, saying goes here is that Disney did kind of make up a story, just keeping the basic beat points of what happens in the original story as opposed to what goes on in the Disney universe. But that goes back to Walt Disney's days. But this film did earn some criticism among more Protestant believers. However, Catholics did kind of embrace it. So, yeah, there's that thing going on for it. Again, you have several famous people, some non-so-famous, more from Broadway coming back into play with doing the voiceovers. Tony Jay, he made a brief appearance in Beauty and the Beast as the asylum caretaker, collecting people, but he's the voice of the villainous Judge Claude Frollo in The Hunchback of Notre Dame. And you have Tom Hulse from Animal House fame and Amadeus as the voice of Quasimodo. You have Kevin Kline as the voice of Phoebus. Demi Moore is the voice of the Princess Esmeralda. And you have Jason Alexander as one of the gargoyles, and along with Charles Kimbrough and Mary Wicks. Mary Wicks you would know from Sister Act. She's the one that Whoopi Goldberg replaces in Sister Act. But yeah, The Hunchback of Notre Dame. I did go see this in the theater when it originally played. I'm not going to say how old I was. Let's just say I was quite young when I saw The Hunchback of Notre Dame in the theater. Now, looking back on it, I can kind of see some people's criticism with this film. To me, I thought this film was very dark in its subject matter, but they did keep some lighthearted things and some comedy relief. Obviously, you have Jason Alexander and the Three Gargoyles. They are the comic relief of the film, but you have dark scenes with Frollo. He sings this song called Hellfire, and it shows how he's tormented and how he believes that the gypsies are nothing from the devil, and there's the film really delves deep into damnation and condemnation. It's really, so it gets pretty intense in that scene, and he has an illusion of him being judged, and that he kind of knows that he's going to hell. And it's really kind of, to me at the time, it was kind of disturbing. But you know, I was at an old enough age to know that this was a film of, you know, they're just trying to tell a tale. But this was the first time in my recollection of watching a Disney film where they talk about condemnation and that there is such a place as hell, and how do you portray that on screen and still keep a G rating, you know? Because again, most of these films, if not all these films, were rated G at the time. Now they would be PG, and just Aladdin alone, those films, that would probably get a PG because of some of the stuff that Robin Williams pulled off in the film. I mean, no joke. There's some jokes in there that only adults would understand. But this really didn't have jokes on that level. It still had cartoon humor, and there's a few fart jokes and stuff like that they squeeze in. But it was probably the first one that again talked about, you know, being your soul being damned to hell. And yeah, it's just it really went into that. And I guess what the Protestants kind of figure was controversial was that it was showing the hypocrisy in church, in which that was kind of what the whole story of what that was about. The whole book of the Hunchback of Notre Dame was Victor Hugo's criticism towards the Catholic Church, is that there was a lot of hypocrisy going on inside, and you know how they were quick to judge people and burn them to the stake. Now I will agree, witchcraft and sorcery, those things are wrong. I mean, in terms of Christian denomination, Christian religion, that is wrong, and the Bible has, you know, saying it is a sin to even so much as even mess with that stuff. And Frollo didn't believe that everybody has a chance to be redeemed, and so he sends out his judgment to the world and just going up and killing them and burning them at the stake. That was because he was supposed to be the holy man. But Disney tells in this film that no, he's not going to heaven. He thinks he's a holy man, but he's not. He's the exact opposite. He's evil. So, yeah, and in that respects, I do applaud Disney for that. But at the time, a lot of people didn't like this one as much because of those elements, that it was a little dark and had the condemnation and talk about damnation and it. But you know, it's still watchable. It's still enjoyable. It's, I don't know what else to say about it, but it's not one of the best ones. That's what I'm just gonna say. It's not one of my favorite ones. It is enjoyable, but it's not one of my favorite of the Disney Renaissance, to be honest with you. It's matter of fact, I don't think it was even critically praised as high. Critics did like it, but it wasn't as good as what they thought it could be. So, but yeah, The Hunchback of Notre Dame was today's entry. So tomorrow, I think it's Hercules. Yeah, it's Hercules tomorrow. So we'll take a look at Hercules tomorrow. See where that stands. Yeah. So from me to you, see you later.